House of the Dragon Season 3 comes out in June, so blah, 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 blah. If you've come this far, you're probably sick of my intros because I'm sick of saying them. If you haven't, I'm recapping House of the Dragon before Season 3 premieres. Go check out my other videos recapping episodes 1 through 8 because this is episode 9 and 10. Episode 8 left off with Viserys dying alone in his chambers after Alicent visited him, and he rambled on about the prince who was promised. Episode 9 is called The Green Council, and it's focused on the scheming in King's Landing and the Hightower branch of the Targaryen family. A servant discovers Viserys, and the telephone game begins. This servant tells Alicent's handmaid Talia, who lights a candle in the window of Viserys' bedroom, seemingly to signal someone in King's Landing about Viserys' death before she goes to tell Alicent. I'll spoil it, she's signaling to Mysaria she's a spy for Mysaria. Give Alicent some credit, which I hate to do. She seems at least a little sad that her husband is dead. She immediately gets dressed and goes to her father Otto to tell him the news and to tell him that when she saw Viserys last, he told her he wanted Aegon to be king. Girl, no he did not. I know you think he did, he didn't. Doesn't matter, the Green Council has been called into session. Otto brings the council up to speed. The king is dead, and his dying wish was for Aegon to be king. Tywin Lannister says, thank God, we have his blessing, and now we can proceed with our meticulously crafted evil plans. They start discussing how to remove Daemon's loyalists from the City Watch and the Kingsguard, which noble houses will support Aegon, etc. Everyone is on the same page, except for Alicent, Sir Harold, and Beesbury, who are all hella confused. Alicent says, hold up, have you all been planning to install my son on the throne without telling me? And they're like, girl, no, we just didn't want you to have to get your hands dirty as queen. We obviously trust you. Lyman Beesbury, on the other hand, is sick. He stands and speaks up, calling all of them out. He has known Viserys the longest out of everyone here, and he refutes the idea that Viserys would have changed his mind on his deathbed with only Alicent as a witness. He goes even further, implying that one of them may have had a hand in the king's death. Sir Criston Cole, the voice of reason, screams at him to sit down and forces Beesbury back into his chair. He's actually so aggressive with it that Beesbury's head smacks the table and it kills him. This is the first casualty of the Dance of the Dragons. Shock, awe, horror. Sir Harold pulls his sword on Criston, telling him to remove his cloak on account of the murder, and Criston pulls his own sword out. Alicent says, please everyone put your swords away. Maester Orwyle wants Beesbury's body to be removed, and I get it, he's sitting right next to him, but Otto is like, no. No one is leaving this chamber until our business is done. As they plot around her, Alicent is slowly realizing what this means for Rhaenyra. Otto says her and her family will just be imprisoned until they publicly swear fealty to Aegon. But Alicent knows that will never happen. Rhaenyra and Daemon will never bend the knee. So that means the entire Green Council is cool with killing her and all of her children. Alicent finally voices her objections to this. The king, her husband, would not have wanted his daughter killed. Otto's like, do you have any other ideas, girl? I thought not. Sit down. Sir Harold, take your knights to Dragonstone. Be quick and clean about it. But instead, Sir Harold removes his cloak, saying that as commander of the Kingsguard, he will only listen to the king. So until there is one, he is not involving himself with this nonsense. And with that, he unlocks the door and leaves. Green Council over. But now we have a bigger issue. Alicent and Otto go to Aegon's rooms and Helena's chambers, but he isn't there. Where is the future king? This is a huge problem. Alicent tries to tell Helena that her father is dead, but Helena interrupts, saying there's a beast beneath the boards. If you haven't picked up on this, Helena is a prophet. She prophesizes. Otto finds Sir Eric, who's Aegon's protector, but he doesn't know where Aegon is either. He thinks Aegon snuck off into the city, so Otto tells Eric to find him immediately, bring his brother Sir Auric with him, and remove the white Kingsguard cloaks because no one can know that they're looking for Aegon, including the Queen. When they find Aegon, bring him to Otto alone, not Alicent. But Sir Criston heard this, so he tells Alicent, and Alicent tells him to go find Aegon and bring him to her, not Otto. Aemon says he knows where to look, so he is going to go with Sir Criston. Now the wheels are turning, too fast to stop. Rhaenys, who is still in King's Landing, has woken to find her door locked from the outside, and the castle servants are all being detained in the cellars to keep word from getting out. Otto brings the nobles that are at court to the throne room to essentially force their hand and make them swear allegiance to Aegon. Most of them do, but some of them refuse because they stand on business. They're not oath breakers. Otto just has them arrested and taken away. anyway. To the streets, we've got two teams, Kristen and Aemond and Eric and Arik, both searching for Aegon. Who will find them first? While Aemond and Kristen are searching, Aemond is telling Kristen that Aegon is dumb and he sucks, and Aemond should be king instead. Eric and Arik go to these child fighting pits where Aegon spends a lot of time and has fathered many illegitimate children who now compete in these fighting rings. Eric is disgusted with Aegon and he does not believe that Aegon is the rightful king. Arik is just following orders. They are approached by a girl who is employed by the White Worm Mysaria. Mysaria has detained Aegon and will release him in exchange for an audience with Otto. I don't think I mentioned this when Mysaria first appeared, but I don't like her. No hate to the actress, I'm so sorry, but I don't think she does a good job. I'm so sorry, I'm annoyed when she's on screen. Back at the Red Keep, Larys has clocked one of the noble lords trying to escape and has him delivered to Otto, who puts him in the dungeon. Otto thanks Larys and says he's noticed Larys spending a lot of time with the queen. Larys says, well, for the right price, all that time spent could be for your benefit. Larys is never not scheming. After crying over Viserys' body, Alicent goes to visit Rhaenys, who is pretty upset and would like to know why she has been locked in her chambers. Alicent lays it all out for her. The king is dead, Aegon will be king, and she wants Rhaenys and her husband's support. The Velaryons have been loyal to Rhaenyra in the past, but to no end. Laena is dead, Laenor's children are not his, Corlys is still in critical condition. Alicent tries to flatter Rhaenys a little, admitting to her that she should have been queen. Viserys did not have whatever sauce makes a good monarch, but it's too late to change that now. Women cannot rule, but we can guide men that do away from violence and towards peace. If Rhaenys wants Driftmark, Alicent will give it to her. Rhaenys only needs to support Aegon's claim. Rhaenys gives Alicent credit for being smarter than she thought, but admonishes her for spending her whole life in service of men. Her father, her husband, her son. Has Alicent never pictured herself on the Iron Throne? This Alicent up, her whole life summed up in a few unimpressive sentences, so she leaves Rhaenys to make her own decision. Meanwhile, Mysaria has secured her audience with Otto. She will give him Aegon in exchange for two things. One, an end to the child fighting pits in King's Landing, and two, a whole bunch of gold. Good for her, I guess. I personally don't care. Otto agrees, so Eric and Arik are able to recover Aegon, but Sir Criston Cole and Aemond are there and threaten them to release Aegon to them. Aegon, who breaks free of the Aeriks, zooms away. He does not want this. It's everyone around him who is forcing the crown on him. Cue epic sword fight between Criston and Arik. Cue Eric vanishing into the shadows of King's Landing because he has decided this is simply not his business. Cue Aemond tackling Aegon, who begs him to let him sail away. You can tell Aemond is considering it, but Criston Cole is there to whisk Aegon away back to Alicent. She has won the Aegon chase. Alicent goes to tell her father that she has Aegon, and Otto tries to convince her that they are still on the same team, working towards the same goals. But he doesn't know Alicent like I know Alicent. Once she feels she's been betrayed, it is near impossible to get back into her good graces. She sees now they were never on the same team. She was just raised in his image to do what he told her to do, to want what he told her to want. And now he wants to murder Rhaenyra, and she refuses to go along with it. He's like, I understand why a woman would be squeamish with bloodshed. She's like, not wanting to murder my husband's daughter is not weakness, you sick, twisted man. I won the Aegon chase, so we're doing this my way. Listen up. We're going to send terms of surrender to Rhaenyra, fair terms that she can reasonably accept. She can leave Westeros or stay on Dragonstone. We're going to name Criston Cole as commander of the Kingsguard, and Aegon's coronation will happen tomorrow morning. All the pores of King's Landing will be invited so it can be as public as possible. Otto simply tells her that she looks a lot like her mother in certain lights, and she storms out back to her chambers where Larys Strong is waiting for her. She's like, dude, it's late. Please leave. But he has important information to share. Doesn't she want to know how Otto found Aegon first? But Larys is not going to give up this information freely. Y'all, this is so weird. To get him to spill his information, she takes off her shoes so he can peep at her royal feet. I'm not going to mention it again, but just know that as he's spilling this information, he's perving and Alicent is letting it happen. He tells her there are spies all over the Red Keep serving one master. Otto knows this but doesn't do anything about it because it's sometimes useful to him. We know this master is Mysaria the White Worm, but Larys doesn't mention her by name in this scene. Larys reveals that one of the spies is Alicent's handmaid, Talia. And if Alicent wishes for him to take out the spy network, he can do that. Rhaenys is stewing in her chambers that night, and who comes to break her out? Sir Eric! He is back! His sense of honor cannot let this treachery stand. He is there to guide her through the castle to freedom. As he's leading her through the streets of King's Landing, the City Watch are corralling the small folk to the dragon pit for the coronation, and her and Eric are separated. Bummer. On the bright side, the coronation is happening in the dragon pit, and Rhaenys is going to take this opportunity to sneak down to where the dragons are and get her dragon Meleys, but hold that thought. On the carriage ride to the dragon pit, Aegon looks like a kid who's been wrestled into church clothes for Easter Sunday, and Alicent is like, dude, you could at least look grateful. Do you know how hard this was to pull off? But Aegon doesn't care. He knows his father never wanted this. Alicent tries to tell him that that's not true, the whole deathbed confession thing, but Aegon just laughs because he knows better. His father didn't like him. He never meant for Aegon to be king. That's when Alicent pulls out the Conqueror's dagger, the one Viserys kept with him. Seeing the dagger, having it given to him, makes Aegon think twice. He asks her if she is serious, and she swears it's what Viserys wanted. She also takes this moment to tell him not to listen to his grandfather when Otto tells him to kill Rhaenyra. Aegon doesn't respond to this and just asks his mother if she loves him. Alicent smiles and says, you imbecile. Because you can say a lot of things about Season 1 Alicent, but she loves her children, even her terrible, terrible son. Now we get the coronation scene. It's very cool. Otto speaks to the small folk to tell them Viserys is dead, and he named Aegon his successor. All the small folk applaud because they all hate women. Just kidding, but not really. Aegon is crowned with the Conqueror's crown, holding the Conqueror's sword. Fanfare, excitement, applause. The actor playing Aegon here gives a fantastic performance. It's awesome. The music swells. It looks like this is going to go off without a hitch. Long live King Aegon II. Oh no, small hitch. Rhaenys bursts through the floor with her dragon Meleys, killing an untold amount of small folk, whatever. She approaches the dais. Is Rhaenys going to end the war before it starts? Is she going to take out the Greens today to prevent the deaths of hundreds, maybe thousands? Oh, she's just gonna stare Aegon down on her dragon before flying away? Okay, Rhaenys, I could have sworn you were smarter than that. This does not happen in the book, and I can't understand why the writers made this choice other than the fact that it looks sick as hell. It really makes no sense, especially because the episode ends there. Episode 10, the season finale, is called The Black Queen. Let's get into it. Last episode took place entirely in King's Landing with the Greens, and this episode takes place pretty much entirely on Dragonstone with the Blacks. This episode is also a whole lot of telephone, so just bear with me as I tell you about all the characters getting up to speed. The episode starts with this very sweet moment between Lucerys and Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra is pregnant with her sixth child, and Lucerys is fretting because Corlys is still in critical condition, and if he dies, Luke does not feel ready to be Lord of Driftmark. He's literally 14 and gets seasick whenever he's on a boat, but Rhaenyra reminds him that destiny is not something you choose, it is something that is given to you. When Rhaenyra was named heir, she wasn't ready to be queen, but it was her duty, and she had to earn her inheritance, just like Luke will earn his. He remarks that he's not perfect like his mom, and Rhaenyra kisses him and tells him she is far from perfect. Rhaenyra, you self-aware queen. She promises to look after Luke until he's ready to be Lord of the Tides. They're interrupted because Rhaenys has finally arrived on Dragonstone and she needs to speak with Rhaenyra and Daemon immediately. Rhaenys has to break a lot of news to them. Viserys, Daemon's brother and Rhaenyra's father, is dead, and Aegon, her brother, has usurped the throne from her. Daemon's like, so my brother is dead, probably killed by Alicent, and you had the chance to burn them all and didn't take it? That's what I'm saying, Daemon. But Rhaenys says this isn't her war to start. Girl, what are you talking about? You are going to fight in the war. Whatever. Rhaenys tells Rhaenyra that the Greens are coming for her and her children. The stress of this news causes Rhaenyra to go into an early labor, so while Rhaenyra goes to deal with that, Daemon is making plans to fortify the island, and Rhaenys fetches Jace and Luke so they can go see their mother so she can tell them what's going on. Jace is ready to spring into action, and he's like, don't worry, I'll make sure Daemon doesn't do anything stupid. Before he leaves, Rhaenyra reminds Jace that his authority relies on her own claim. so make sure nothing is done until Rhaenyra commands it. Daemon's council, well, really Rhaenyra's council, but Daemon's council tells him that Corlys is alive and no longer in critical condition. He's set sail on his ship, but they're not sure where he's going or where his loyalties lie. Daemon orders ravens to be sent to all their nearest allies, and while he's plotting, everyone can hear Rhaenyra yelling for Daemon, and one of the councilmen is like, "Do you want to go to your wife?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna fly to the Riverlands to confirm Lord Tully's support." Jace interrupts and says he'll do no such thing because Rhaenyra, the rightful queen, has decreed no action will be taken while she's in labor. Daemon looks super annoyed at this, but says, "Thank God you're here, Jace. We need you to patrol the skies on your dragon Vermax." Jace is like, "Dude, did you not hear me?" And Daemon ignores him, telling the councilmen to carry out his orders, and the councilmen listen to Daemon. Which I have to say makes no sense. You've already thrown your lot in with Rhaenyra. Why defer to a man now? Whatever. Daemon leaves the council and tells Jace to come with him. He's going to show him the true meaning of loyalty. Daemon goes to question the two Kingsguard that are on Dragonstone and to give them a choice. Re-swear their oath to the new queen or choose to die an honorable death. But he warns them if they lie and betray Rhaenyra later, they will die screaming, in pain. And his dragon Caraxes is there to really bring that point home. Meanwhile, as Rhaenyra is giving birth and screaming, it's intercut with her dragon Syrax also screeching in pain. I'm pretty sure this is to illustrate the magical bond between dragon and rider, and also to foreshadow what Rhaenyra is going to give birth to. Her daughter Visenya never takes a breath, and she is born twisted and premature with dragon scales. Rhaenyra has to mourn both her father and her newborn child in one fell swoop. Bummer. They hold a small funeral for the child, and during it, Sir Eric approaches. He's come from King's Landing to swear fealty to Rhaenyra, and he's brought her the crown that her father Viserys wore. Rhaenyra's theme plays as Daemon places the crown on her head and kneels before her, and everyone else does the same. God, this coronation is so sad. Anyway, we have a cool table to gather around. This is the table that Aegon the Conqueror used before his invasion of Westeros, and it's a map of the Seven Kingdoms. It's where Rhaenyra holds her first council as queen, and God, they have a lot to talk about. They need to figure out how many soldiers they have, which noble houses support their claim, and what they're going to do about the Greens. They have less soldiers than the Greens, but what they do have are dragons, 13 to be exact, while the Greens only have 4. Rhaenyra points out that half of those dragons are without riders, and none of them have been to war. Daemon thinks if they play their cards right, though, they can win this war within the month, but Rhaenyra is a lot more wary. And she'll have to be because the Greens have sent an envoy to Dragonstone. They are here. "It's Otto, yay!" said no one ever. Daemon meets him at the bridge entrance, and Otto tells him he's been sent by the Dowager Queen Alicent, mother of King Aegon II, to deliver a message to Rhaenyra. Where is she? Cue Rhaenyra flying in on her scary-ass dragon Syrax. She lands on the other side of the bridge, blocking the Greens' exit. Very drama. She reminds Otto that Aegon is not king, she is the queen, and all of them are traitors to the realm. Otto ignores her completely to say what he came here to say. King Aegon, in his wisdom and desire for peace, has proposed terms. Acknowledge Aegon as the true king, swear loyalty to him, and Aegon will let Rhaenyra have Dragonstone as her seat, and it will pass to Jace upon her death. Luke will be named heir to Driftmark, and all her sons with Daemon will be given places of honor and influence at court. Also, Aegon will pardon any knight or lord that was loyal to her claim. Rhaenyra doesn't want to hear this, but Otto has one last trick up his sleeve. He gives a piece of parchment to Rhaenyra, and when she unfolds it, she sees it's the page that Rhaenyra tore out of the book for Alicent when they were children. Alicent kept it all these years, a totally platonic thing to do. Otto says Alicent remembers the love they used to have for each other. They don't have to go to war. The realm can have peace. Daemon has heard enough and he's ready to kill Otto, but Rhaenyra says no, they came in peace and will leave in peace. Rhaenyra will deliver her answer to King's Landing tomorrow. Back in the war room, Daemon is pissed. They have the most dragons, they can win this. The lords counseling Rhaenyra ask her if she's really considering the Greens' terms, and she she says she is. It's her duty as queen to protect the realm, not throw it into war. But Daemon yells that the Greens have already declared war, so what's she going to do about it? And there it is. Rhaenyra refuses to be pushed around by her husband. She tells everyone to clear the room. It's time to settle this. She asks him, "Are you excited for war? Because it seems like you are." And he's like, "I'm not excited, I'm angry. Are you not angry? They stole your birthright, and as queen, it's your duty to crush rebellion." She says her oath goes beyond their personal ambitions. Remember, Daemon, the Song of Ice and Fire, Aegon's dream. Viserys told me when he named me heir, so he must have told you. Viserys actually did not tell Daemon this. And it's either that revelation or just the rage that's been building up inside of him that compels him to grab Rhaenyra by the throat, choking her, forcing her to listen to him. He says Viserys was obsessed with dreams and prophecy, anything to make his purposeless reign have any kind of meaning. But dreams didn't make us kings. Dragons did. When he lets go of Rhaenyra, she is shocked. A laugh nearly escapes her as she realizes Viserys never told Aegon about Aegon's dream. The acrobatics my brain has to do to like these characters after they do heinous things is truly Olympic worthy. I still like Daemon as a character after this moment. He sucks and I would never want to meet him in real life, but if I start hating these characters based on my 21st century morals, soon I'm gonna hate everybody, and that's just not a fun way to watch a show. I need to root for someone. Speaking of which, Corlys is awake. I was rooting for him. Rhaenys is by his bedside and she immediately tears into him for abandoning her for 6 years right after both their children died. He just says, "I'm sorry, I lost everything." And Rhaenys says, We lost everything. What is this By the way, your brother Vaemond is dead too. He stood in front of the king and called Rhaenyra's kids bastards, and Daemon beheaded him. This is surely a shock to Corlys' system right after recovering from near death, but even I was flabbergasted at what comes out of his mouth next. Are you ready? He tells Rhaenys that she was right. All of his plans and ambitions were for nothing. As for the issue at hand, they should declare for no one, retire to Driftmark with their grandkids, and live a quiet life. Rhaenys is like, "Are you stupid? Your grandkids are heirs to the throne, and your other grandkids are betrothed to them. None of them will be safe while Aegon is king." Corlys says they can't support Rhaenyra. The woman is complicit in Laenor's death. That girl destroys everything she touches. But Rhaenys tells him that that girl is the only thing holding the realm together right now. Everyone on Rhaenyra's council is urging her to go to war, and Rhaenyra is the only one who's saying that they should think about it first. Cut to the council, everyone is arguing until Corlys and Rhaenys enter. Rhaenyra and Corlys go back and forth for a moment, but when it comes down to it, he affirms House Velaryon's support for Rhaenyra's claim. And because he won the battle in the Stepstones, again, the Blacks control the Narrow Sea and all of the shipping ports therein. They can cut off supplies to King's Landing, surround them, and force their surrender. Yay! Rhaenyra has decided that if war starts, it will not be by her hand. She wants to know who her allies are first. If they're going to surround King's Landing, they'll need support of Winterfell, the Eyrie, and Storm's End, so they'll have to send ravens to those houses. It's Jace who suggests sending dragons instead because they are faster and more convincing, to put it mildly. Jace will go to the Eyrie and Winterfell, and Luke is going to Storm's End to appeal to Lord Boros Baratheon and remind him of the oath that his father swore to her. Before the princes leave, Rhaenyra reminds them to be safe. This is a diplomatic mission. They are messengers, not warriors. She makes them both swear on the Bible not to engage in any fighting. I mean, it's not the Christian Bible, but it's the Game of Thrones Bible. It's the Bible. She tells Luke that Lord Boros is a proud man who will be honored to host a prince and his dragon, and with that, she sends them on their way. God, I am so stressed. Luke lands in Storm's End here to deliver his message, but Vhagar is already parked outside. Oh no, Luke, turn around. He doesn't turn around. He goes to seek an audience with Lord Boros, and Aemond is already parked beside the throne. Oh no, Luke, turn around. He doesn't turn around. He delivers the message to Lord Boros, who apparently can't read. He has to have a maester read it to him. And Lord Boros is insulted. King Aegon's message at least came with an offer of marriage in exchange for his support, but Luke comes empty-handed. Lord Boros says that Luke can tell Rhaenyra that the Lord of Storm's End is not a dog at her beck and call. Go home, little prince. When Luke turns to leave, Aemond stops him. Did Luke really think he could fly about wherever, trying to undermine Aegon's claim? Luke refuses to engage, saying he came as a messenger. He is not going to fight Aemond. Aemond says, "Oh, no, 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 I don't want to fight you. I want you to put out your eye. I was gonna bring it to my mother as a gift." Luke is like, "Are you crazy?" No. And Aemond starts running at him, screaming at him to give him his eye. But Lord Boros demands that they stop, not in his hall, in front of his salad. Say what you want about Lord Boros, he will at least honor Luke's intention of peace and has him escorted back to his dragon. Outside, it's pouring rain as Luke mounts Arax and sees that Vhagar is gone. I don't know how Aemond was that fast. Luke takes off on Arax towards Dragonstone, but unfortunately, he will never make it there. Vhagar catches up to him, and Aemond taunts him in the skies. He's not trying to kill him, just scare him, but unfortunately, the grandma war dragon doesn't know the difference, and she's decided that it's snack time. Aemond is yelling, "Vhagar, no," but it's too late. One chomp, and what is left of Luke and Arax fall into the sea. Goodbye, Luke. Aemond, you have just started a war. In the last scene of the episode, Daemon walks into the war room to deliver news of Luke's death. Rhaenyra is facing away from the camera, looking into the fireplace, and when she finally turns around, you can see it in her eyes. She is about to unleash hell. And that was season 1. Oh my god, talk about excellent television. I'd like to reflect back on the season, maybe give some superlatives out. I've obviously watched Haley Whipjack's Once Upon a Time recaps, and I'm not trying to steal her thunder, so I'm gonna do some different rankings and awards. Best actor/actress. This is my own personal Emmys. Who was the best performance in the entirety of season 1? I have to give it to Paddy Considine. He was amazing. This man made me hate him, love him, cry for him, cheer for him. Every single human emotion it is possible to feel, I felt for Viserys this season. No, I haven't forgiven him for what he did to Emma, but his performance is incredible. Favorite episode goes to Driftmark. I especially love the scene where Rhaenyra and Alicent are fighting and Alicent has the dagger. It's so good. You already knew this. The drama, the struggle, Alicent flying off the handle, it's all mwah. Worst character. This is just so I can talk about Mysaria. I don't like her. I don't like Mysaria. I don't think the actress is doing a good job. The accent is weird to me. It is very distracting. All of the lines they have written for her feel very stilted. In a cast that is performing at such a high level, she sticks out so much. And last, who is Sophia's favorite dragon of the season? Drumroll, please. It's gotta be Caraxes, the bloodworm. I love how weird and freaky he looks, and I love how he is just as weird as Daemon. They are truly meant for each other. I love the bloodworm. Anyway, now I have to go work on season 2. I have like a month before season 3 comes out, and I'd like to have the season 2 recap out at least 2 weeks before so we can all get ready together. I will try my hardest. Until next time, thanks for watching. I'm Sophia Lynch, and I have music out under that name on all streaming platforms, including this very YouTube channel. So please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of these because I would like to keep making them. See you next time.